Ah, the sweet scent of impending economic doom. Don't you just love it? It's like that awkward family reunion where you know someone's about to start a fight over the potato salad, but you just can't look away. Well, today the potato salad is the global economy, and the fight is happening in these 10 unfortunate countries. So, grab your life vests and a stiff drink, because things are about to get messy. First up, we have Venezuela, a country that proves having more oil than a teenager's forehead doesn't guarantee economic stability. You see, Venezuela sits atop the world's largest proven oil reserves. But instead of swimming in cash like Scrooge McDuck, Venezuela is struggling to keep its head above water. Decades of socialist policies, rampant corruption, and enough government mismanagement to make your head spin have turned this oil-rich nation into an economic basket case. And if that wasn't enough, the global oil price crash of recent years hit Venezuela harder than a toddler with a sugar rush. The result? Well, let's just say the phrase humanitarian crisis gets thrown around a lot. We're talking sky-high inflation rates, food shortages, and a mass exodus of citizens fleeing the country faster than you can say economic meltdown. It's a grim picture, folks, and a stark reminder that even with all the oil in the world, sometimes you just strike a dry well when it comes to competent economic management. Next up, we're hopping on over to Greece, the land of ancient ruins, beautiful beaches, and a financial crisis. Greece, you've had a rough go of it lately. It's like you bet it all on black, and the roulette wheel landed on 00 green. Greece's love of sunshine, ouzo, and social programs led to a pickle when the global economy nosedived. Suddenly, all those loans looked like a really bad hangover. Greece isn't blameless in this debacle. Their tax collection system makes a sieve look like Fort Knox. Years of living large on borrowed money have come back to bite Greece. A cautionary tale about fiscal irresponsibility and the whims of the global market. Hold on to your hats, folks, because we're about to enter the world's most secretive and economically isolated nation, North Korea. What we do know is this: under the iron-fisted rule of Kim Jong-un, North Korea has somehow managed to maintain a command economy more centrally controlled than my grandma's Thanksgiving dinner seating chart. And while the Kim family enjoys their lavish lifestyle and parades their missiles around like a kid who just got a new toy truck, the vast majority of North Koreans are struggling to put food on the table. Add to that crippling international sanctions a hefty military budget that would make even the Pentagon blush, and a healthy dose of good old-fashioned government incompetence, and you've got yourself a recipe for economic disaster. But hey, at least they've got nukes, right? Because nothing says thriving economy like the ability to obliterate your enemies while your own people are struggling to survive. Chapter 4. Argentina, tangoing with default again. Next up, we're heading south to Argentina, a land of passionate tango, delicious steak, and an economy that's more volatile than a bull in a china shop. Now, Argentina, you've got it all: stunning natural beauty, a rich cultural heritage, and a knack for snatching defeat from the jaws of victory when it comes to managing your finances. Seriously, Argentina, you've defaulted on your debt more times than I've tried to make sourdough bread during quarantine. This time around, it's a familiar tango of sky-high inflation, crippling debt, and a currency that's worth about as much as a used napkin. But hey, at least they have Lionel Messi, right? Because nothing soothes the sting of economic turmoil like watching a national treasure dribble a soccer ball past a bunch of bewildered Europeans. Chapter 5, El Salvador Bitcoin Beach or Bankruptcy Bay. Surf's up, dudes and dudettes. We're catching a wave down to El Salvador, the land of volcanoes, pupusas, and a president who's making some, shall we say, interesting economic decisions. Now, El Salvador was already facing some gnarly economic headwinds: poverty, gang violence, and a debt-to-GDP ratio that would make a loan shark blush. But instead of tackling those issues with sensible economic policies, El Salvador's president decided to make a splash by adopting Bitcoin as legal tender. Now, I'm all for embracing new technology, but this is like trying to put out a fire with gasoline while simultaneously juggling chainsaws. So far, the Bitcoin experiment has gone about as smoothly as a sandpaper surfboard. Only time will tell if El Salvador's Bitcoin gamble will pay off, or if it will be just another wipeout in their long history of economic turbulence. Chapter 6. Belgium waffling between prosperity and peril. Hold on to your waffles, folks, because we're about to delve into the economic paradox that is Belgium, a nation known for its delicious chocolate, intricate medieval architecture, and a government bureaucracy that's more complex than a Rubik's Cube designed by M.C. Escher. Now, on the surface, Belgium seems to have it all figured out. It's a founding member of the European Union, boasts a high standard of living, and has a penchant for producing some of the world's finest beers. But beneath that veneer of economic stability lies a growing unease, a sense that Belgium might be skating on thin ice, and that ice is starting to crack. You see, Belgium's got a bit of a spending problem. Their national debt has ballooned like a waffle iron left unattended, and their economy, while diverse, is facing headwinds from rising energy costs and global economic uncertainty. If it doesn't get its fiscal house in order, it could find itself sliding down a path of economic uncertainty faster than you can say Vlaamse gemeenschap. We're venturing now to Myanmar, a nation of breathtaking beauty, rich cultural heritage, and a political and economic landscape that's, well, let's just say it's complicated. Imagine a country with the potential to be the next Asian economic tiger, blessed with abundant natural resources, a young and vibrant workforce, and a strategic location at the crossroads of major trade routes. Now, imagine that same country being ripped apart by internal conflict, political instability, and a military junta that's about as subtle as a sledgehammer in a tea shop. Since the military coup in 2021, the country has been plunged into chaos. The economy has taken a nosedive faster than a cormorant after a fish. Foreign investment has dried up faster than a puddle in the desert, and the human rights situation is, well, let's just say it's not great. It's a heartbreaking situation, and it's a stark reminder that even in the 21st century, political instability and conflict can derail even the most promising of economic trajectories. Hold on to your textiles because we're about to dive into the world of fast fashion and financial fragility in Bangladesh, a nation known for its lush landscapes, vibrant culture, and a garment industry that's both a blessing and a curse. Now, Bangladesh has pulled off an economic miracle in recent decades, transforming itself from a poverty-stricken nation to a global hub for garment manufacturing. But this remarkable growth has come at a cost, leaving Bangladesh vulnerable to the whims of global fashion trends and economic downturns. And for Bangladesh, that tide is coming in the form of rising inflation, a global slowdown in demand for clothing, and the ever-present threat of climate change. Add to that a growing debt burden and you've got a recipe for economic heartburn. Hold on to your wallets, folks, because we're about to enter the economic pressure cooker that is Zimbabwe, a nation known for its stunning natural beauty, its resilient people, and a history of hyperinflation that would make even the Weimar Republic blush. Now, Zimbabwe's economic woes are a tale as old as time, or at least as old as the Mugabe regime. Decades of corruption, mismanagement, and economic policies that can only be described as creative have left the country's economy in ruins. We're talking about inflation so high that you need a wheelbarrow full of cash just to buy a loaf of bread. Now Zimbabwe is trying to turn things around, but it's like trying to turn an ocean liner around in a bathtub. We're wrapping up our world tour of economic turmoil in Sri Lanka, a nation known for its idyllic beaches, ancient ruins, and a debt crisis that's about as welcome as a swarm of mosquitoes at a picnic. Sri Lanka, you were once the envy of South Asia, a shining example of economic progress and democratic stability. But somewhere along the way you took a wrong turn and ended up in the economic equivalent of quicksand. How did it happen? Well, it's a familiar story of ambitious infrastructure projects, generous social spending, and a dash of good old-fashioned corruption. Now, the party's over, the guests have gone home, and Sri Lanka is left with a hangover, that would make a rugby team weep. Well, folks, there you have it. A whirlwind tour of 10 nations staring down the barrel of economic uncertainty. If you found this journey through the world of economic peril informative, if it made you laugh, cry, or spill your drink, then do us a favor and hit that subscribe button.